Yes. What is good, my people? Welcome back to Computer Music Academy's weekly homework podcast. I am your host, Tashira Say. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Welcome to week 117. And I know I said 117 a couple times last week, but this is week 117 of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. Shout out to my man Diggahertz for that intro. We'll be using that for a couple more weeks, then moving on to something else. What the hell are we doing? Well, first of all, if you are brand new to the program, you have no idea what's going on, let me explain. Over at computermusicacademy.com, we do this thing called the weekly homework assignment. And it's basically where I give you an assignment and I ask you to create a song that sounds like this, or only using this, or you can't use this, those type of limitations and restrictions or rules, instructions, however, and you have 7 days to return a finished product. I take those finished products and I release the weekly homework podcast on Mondays. This week, we're taking it back, going old school, to where this is something that I've said many times before, and I honestly believe it. With access, there's excess. And what I mean by that is nowadays we have multiple terabyte hard drives with all these samples and sounds and instruments and stuff like that, various pieces of gear, and it wasn't like that before. Back in the day, and many of us are of age, we only had one piece of equipment, be it a motif or a phantom or an SP1200 or something similar, where you only had that one piece of equipment and you had to be creative with that one piece of equipment and with limited sounds, limited memory, sampling time, blah, blah, blah. So that's where we're going with this particular assignment. You can only select one instrument, be it a hardware piece or a plugin, or in the case where a lot of us use Ableton or Logic or Reason or MPC Ren or Machine or something like that, you can't use that as your core instrument. You have to use an expansion or a sample pack as your one selection. And you have to select carefully because everything for your particular song has to come from that sample pack, instrument, expansion, blah, blah, blah. The crazy thing about it is, I know for a fact this is either going to bring the best out of people or the worst out of people. Limitation does that. So we'll see what happens. But we actually have 15 submissions this week. And man, this is going to be crazy. So let's kick things off with a gentleman who just came over to CMA within the last few days on the recommendation of one of our other members. Shout out to my man, No One You Know. Let's see what he's doing. Yes, yes. No One You Know with his debut at CMA and on the WHA Weekly Homework Assignment / podcast. Very good. I got to give it up to him. That was actually a pretty cool entry. He actually used the Alpha 64 plugin, and I'm assuming from what I looked up that that's by Linplug, and that's pretty cool. Actually, I like all the sounds and everything he used. I like the groove and everything. It's very 80s sounding. I really like that about that joint. It almost sounds like it could be in one of the old, 8 or 16-bit video games, which is really dope. And that's me right there. But yeah, I actually liked everything I heard about the track. I liked the sounds that he used. The drums were a little weak, and let me actually tell this apart. Not whack, but weak, whereas they didn't kick as much. And one of the purposes of this particular assignment is to take all of that factory content and tweak it, put it through some processing and dynamics and stuff like that, and make it hit and sound the way you want it to. So I do like everything in the track, but the drums definitely needed to hit just a little bit more. But again, I know for a fact that all came out of the Alpha 64 plugin, which is all fine with me. Actually, the song overall sounds very dope. I would definitely suggest, going back and, doing all the processing with some processing and bringing the drums out and balancing. Well, the balancing is fine. I would definitely do some EQ and then a little bit better mixing on this because it sounds kind of flat. Maybe that's just me listening through my headphones, but it sounds a little flat. And it definitely needs to have, in my opinion, a little bit more vibrance. But overall, great submission, great debut, my man. Definitely looking forward to hearing more from you. So thank you. Thank you for that. And now we're going out to the West Coast, to Vegas. See what my man E Hustle is doing. Let's go. Yes, sir. E Hustle doing his thing for 117. And he used Contact entirely for that particular submission. Very cool, my man. Now, yes, E Hustle, he has been with us around a year at this point, going on a year, and he's still very new to this whole process of making beats. And he actually uses the Machine Studio for that as well. But he used Contact for this particular submission. Now, what I will say, the beat is very simple. I guess that's the best way to say it. It's very simple. Uh, Definitely, the sounds were not bad. The groove was not bad, but definitely it needed some more going on within the track. It needed different patterns or sequences, some change ups. I know he actually had a couple of parts where he took certain instruments out, brought it back in, but for the most part, it was the same sequence throughout. And that's one of the things you definitely have to develop. You have to put more stuff into it, drops and change ups, fill ins, crescendos, all of these different types of elements that you should be putting into your music. And we're working on that. We're going to work on that. And, you hit me up directly and we'll make it happen. But yeah, that's the type of stuff that we want to see and I'm pretty sure we're going to see in the rest of the submissions. You got to have the extra stuff to, as I was saying last week, to keep the artist and the listener's brain firing. You know what I'm saying? Keep them interested, keep them guessing, keep them intrigued. So yeah, but overall, I did like what you used. I like the sounds you used. We definitely got to work on your grooves, different types of swings and whatnot in the beat, and definitely got to work on improving and adding more elements to the song, not just song wise, not just sound wise, but definitely as far as different patterns and stuff like that. But overall, keep it coming, my man. Keep submitting every week and keep following, the criticism from myself and your peers, and trust. We'll get you there, bro. All right. Thank you, sir. Moving on to a gentleman. This is his second submission. And if I'm not mistaken, North Carolina represent Ron B. Let's go.
What's an MC without a beat first? Wanna rep her knees just to see my worth? All I really need is make a neck jerk. A student of the game, this is my homework.
Yes, Ron B. I like that. I like that a lot, man. That was cool. Very cool. And if you listen to his track compared to the first two, and hopefully, if they're still paying attention at this point, you can hear that he actually tweaked the sounds. He EQ'd them. He used some reverb and some dynamics and whatnot and actually brought those sounds out. He used one of my favorite expansions, the True School expansion for Machine, for that whole joint. Very, very, very nice. Now, I got to call him out because the vocals weren't supposed to be in there. Everything within the track was supposed to come from the expansion. But I got to give him props. They were dope. It was very cool for a hook. I really appreciate that where, and Sho does it, and a couple of our other members do that, where they actually put, they create their own hooks through scratching or vocal samples or actually, rapping or singing themselves. But yeah, I really, it wasn't supposed to be in there, but I do like it. I will say that. I do like it. And he was saying that he wants to get better with that particular aspect of creating his own hooks and whatnot. And that's beautiful because if you're going to present this to somebody and you already have a hook in there, that's probably less work they have to do. And there's a couple of extra dollars in that check that you can add on to your check. I could say that. That's the whole point of being, a whole part of being a producer as well as a songwriter. Extra credit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, overall, I really, really liked and appreciated this submission. Ryan B is you're impressing me, bro. Very, very nice submission, my man. Glad to have you aboard. Looking forward to hearing more. So thank you, my man. All right. Going to holler at my man. Ooh, excuse me. Going to holler at my man. Okay, Joey. Let's get it in. Yes, yes. Okay, Joey doing his thing. Okay, bro. I see you. He actually used the Hello samples. Hello, it was where did it go? The demo sample kit for Sky Gaze from Hello Samples. I think that's what he used. Actually pretty dope. I like what I heard out of there, but I will say it's lacking. It's lacking. Definitely needs a bass line. If nothing else, it needs a bass line and it needs more variation because it's kind of once again that same pattern throughout. I love the sounds he selected. Sounds were on point. Definitely needed a bass line and definitely needed a couple, possibly a couple of extra patterns, fill in, change up, drops, mute, something, to move it around a little bit more. But it was basically, and I did cut it. It was basically, 2 minutes of the same loop. And you know me, if you're a veteran of listening to the program or you're a vet at CMA, I can't stand a static loop. And it just kept going, and it had some other kind of percussion, doo doo doo, or maybe that wasn't a percussion, maybe that was like a high synth, where it's like blue doo blue doo. It came in, I want to assume like every 8 bars or something like that. But for the most part, that was it. We got to change it up. We got to add a little bit more, make it more dynamic, make the track evolve. Again, I know we make hip hop, which is a repetitive art form, at least in the sense of the beats, so that people can rap over it. But that doesn't mean that the beat has to be constantly repetitive for 4 minutes or however long the song is. Overall, did like the sounds. I like the pattern. Could have used some more, man. And hopefully we get you to get the confidence up and actually include that in your future submissions, my man. But yeah, keep it coming, my man. This is definitely not a roadblock. It's just an obstacle. You go over it, get around it, however, and you learn from it and continue to build. And eventually, you're going to be sick. I promise that. So thank you for that, my man. All right, coming up to my man Davenport. Let's see what he's doing. Yes, sir. Davenport doing his thing. Very, very cool submission, my man. I like that. I like the vocal. I guess that was a choir or something. Uh, yeah, some choir stabs. That's what he said he used. I like the drums and the claps and percussion and all of that stuff. Very point. I would have liked to see. I would have liked to have heard like a nice little bass line with that, but I know you had the one synth, low synth stab, so I guess that's representative of the bass line. It did fill out the track a little bit more. I would have liked to hear more, but I do like what happened in the track. Would have liked to have seen a little more variation. At least one pattern change because you did have like I want to say I heard a fill in and some drops and mutes and stuff like that. Definitely needed just a little bit more variation. And I have to call him out because he did not tell me where exactly he got this from. And I emailed him and I said, "Yo, what's the sample pack? I need to know." And he came back and said, "Oh, it's called the Broom or something." And he kind of blew it off. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if this is a situation where you're dealing with an artist, a record label, distribution company, they want to know that stuff. And if you can't prove that you didn't get this from, some other artist, or you can't put the facts in front of them of where you got this, they will say, "Hey, screw it, we don't want to use the track because we can't clear it," or whatever the situation may be. Seeing as I am the record label and distributor, I almost did not use this track because of that. That was one thing that I specifically said in the submission. I mean, in the assignment, is that I need to know what you guys used so I could actually speak on it. Not only for the purpose of actually talking about it, but if somebody hears a bass line or kick, snare, or something like that you used, and they may want to check it out themselves, and I can easily say, "Oh, that was such and such instrument or such and such pack by this particular company, and you did not give me that." So hopefully you take it a little more serious in the future, because that's something that can cost you a lot of money and a lot of exposure. Other than that, I did enjoy the submission, my man. Again, would like to see a little more variation and maybe, a fuller bass line, but overall, pretty cool track, my man. All right, moving on to my man in New Jersey, 18th Dynasty. Let's see what he's doing. Yes, sir. 18th Dynasty doing his thing. And I got to read from his submission. He was like, "Man, this was tough." I told you this is going to bring out the best or the worst in some people. And not to say that that was whack at all, because it wasn't. But one thing I specifically said in the assignment, and I reiterated it at the top of this video, uh, you have to be very careful what you select. Very careful. But he said he used a sample pack called Boom Bap Phonetics 3. And I know for a fact he uses Machine, but he used this sample pack to arrange everything. Pretty cool, man. There's definitely some boom bap, some 90s East Coast kind of stuff, and I really appreciated it. But I see where he was restricted. He was choked a little bit. I do. Because you see, if you ever heard any of other of 18's other submissions, you see is flourishing, is everything is seamless and flows together. And this was a little restricted. It was dope. but it was a little restricted. I like the sounds he chose. I like that he did have some drops and a couple of mutes. Could have used another one or two patterns. And I don't think I heard a bass line. Definitely got to call that out. We got to do, full tracks. But overall, I did like the submission. And I'm actually interested in checking out that pack myself. So I may look into that. But yeah, Dynasty, as usual, coming through, doing what he does with the short tracks. He comes in, he stabs him, and he gets out. My man. Thank you, sir. All right, coming back up to Detroit, my man MICnotes. Let's see what he's doing. MICnotes doing his thing for 117. Yes. I like that. I like that a lot. He used one of my favorite expansions for Machine. That was Conan Gardens. Shout out to Amp Fiddler, who had a hand in creating that. I actually know him personally. Very cool, very talented individual, man. So yeah, shout out to him for that. This track was cool. Very cool. I've said it before, Notes has his own style. And that is a very beautiful thing. Mike only Notes does what Notes does. It's that simple. And that's how it should be. I can't stand copycats. I can't stand generic and everybody sounding the same. We're using the same type of sounds and making the same type of tracks. That's one thing I really appreciate about somebody like Notes. Notes has his own sound, his own style in which he does things. And even though I have that same pack, I promise you we're going to do two different things with those instruments, as I have and as he has with this particular submission. Very dope. I like the swing, I like the drums and everything he selected. Very dope. I was waiting to call him out, but he brought it at 140. He brought the bass line in. It's like, okay, all right. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, what's up with all the lack of bass lines tonight? And he brought it in at 140. So shout out for that. The one thing I do have to call him out on is their tag, because he and Mr. Wallace are actually part of they have a production crew called Double Negative. and he used their double negative tag in there, the camera sound. He used that, and that didn't belong. That's the one issue I have with that track, because everything is supposed to come from the expansion or instrument or whatever you use. Other than that, very dope. I like the drums and the sample chops and organs and all the stabs and whatnot that he used. And then when the bass line finally kicked in, that made it worthwhile. Had a couple different patterns and fill-ins, drops and mutes. The track evolved. And that, includes 140 where the bass line kicked in. So very, 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 very nice track, my man. I love what you do. Always have, and I will continue to. So thank you for that. All right, moving over to the east side of Detroit. Hollering at my man, Sho-Nuff. Let's go. Yes. Show. Okay, let's get this out the way first. I got to ding him for the vocals. Okay. Everything is supposed to come from the pack. But other than that, track was slamming. Holy crap. He used, he's a machine user as well. And he used pulse work, which I have pulse work also, and I really haven't used it that much. I just haven't gotten to it. But I know pulse work is more of a kind of I want to say like a deep house, definitely electronic expansion. But I absolutely love what he did with it. Holy crap, dude. I love all of the sounds that he selected. I love the sequences. I love the vocals. It just wasn't supposed to be in the submission. Everything about this track was sick. Very sick. And I'm seeing Sho get back to doing Sho. You know what I'm saying? If you're somebody who's been watching the program for the last year, at least the last year or so, you know what Sho is all about. And it seems like he's getting back to being Sho. This is what I'm talking about, my man. Woo! Track is dope. Very dope. Definitely one of my favorite Sho-Nuff submissions. I will say that. Excellent, excellent job, my man. Yes. All right. Thank you, sir. Going over to the West Coast, we're going to holler at my man, Sacramento's finest, Ray-Dee 3000. Man, Ray-Dee. Ugh. Jeez, oh Pete, that was sick. He too used Hello Samples, the artist series, Sky Gaze, Volume 1. High quality, sir. Jeez, oh Pete, man. I don't think there's been a Ray-Dee joint, and he's been here since year one. I don't think there's been one that I did not like. And you know, as you're supposed to, he's evolved and progressed every year and gotten better and better, man. And I'm loving what I'm hearing this year because he's in here more often than he was last year so far. But dude, the selection of samples that he used from Sky Gaze, and I guess I need to check that out myself because matter of fact, I think that was Joey that used that. I think there's one more person that used that in this submission. I got to go back and look. But then there's a couple of other people that's been speaking on it over the weekend, so I need to go check that out myself. Maybe get maybe get a review going or something. But man, I love everything about this track. I love the sequences, the samples he used. I love, again, these last couple of tracks. It evolved as it goes on. It's not just a static loop where we take this out and put this back in. No, the track evolves. It changes. It had fill-ins and mutes and switches up to different sequences. You know what I'm saying? And Ray-Dee brought that. I think it was around the 110 where it actually switched up to like almost like a swell synth kind of thing. But then at the 120, where it almost flips into like a jazz track, at least that type of cadence, that feel, woo, that was stupid. Oh my. Ray-Dee, excellent work, sir, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to stay on the West Coast. We're going to holler at Inland Empire, my man, Gemini 4D. Let's see what he's doing.
I find this scientifically fascinating.
IECA. Ugh. Gemini 4D. What the hell was that? Whew, Lord. Woo. Shout out for that, man. He's another machine user. I believe a studio. And he used Astral Flutter. I think that's another one that I have. That, whew, that was noise. Only thing that wasn't in that pack was that that Spock sample. I'm dinging you. Other than that, flawless execution, my man. Holy crap. The sounds he selected, the drums, the groove, got that West Coast hop to it. Oh, God. And then it was all synth stuff, you know, and it was funky. Holy crap, dude. I loved everything about that. Continue on your path, sir. You are killing it so far. I think he's been in every podcast so far this year. Going back to the Dilla joint. Very nice, my man. Very nice. Please continue on that path. You are absolutely killing it. Thank you, sir. All right, and one last stop on the West Coast. We're going to stop in Fairfield. Holla at my man RTO Beats. Let's go. Good Lord. Duh, those last 3 submissions fell perfectly back to back. Oh, God. All West Coast, especially that way. Jeez, oh, Pete. RTO Beats. He used his machine, of course. And he used the amplified funk expansion, which came out in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And then once again, I think that one was created by Amp Fiddler as well. Holy crap, dude. I did not know all of that kind of stuff was in there. I never purchased it. I see I have to now. Jeez, oh Pete. That has some joints in there. This was a joint, man. Oh, God. That was West Coast funk all the way. Loved everything about it. Drums, the sequences, the actual synth and samples and vocal stabs and pads and whatnot that he pulled out of there. Whew. And he even spoke on it himself. He said he didn't do as many change-ups, but even though it kind of kept the same pattern throughout, the sounds kept rotating and evolving and varying. I should say that. That's what I'm talking about. You could do certain things, but other things have to happen. You can't just have static for, a static track for 4 minutes or whatever the situation may be. That was nice. Definitely one of my favorite RTO submissions, man. Holy crap. That was, yes, sir. Very, very nice, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Going down south, holla at my man, DJ Lockturnal. Let's go. South Carolina represent DJ Lockturnal. Oh my. Oh my. That was Dope, sir. Another machine user, and he used Velvet Lounge. That's another one I think it came out last year that I have not picked up yet. I have to pick it up. And you know what? I'm pretty sure they're gonna do their they've done this thing for the last what 3 years, or is it 4 now? This thing called the Cloud 9, where they actually put up 9 expansions for like $100 when they're normally $50 each. And that's how I've acquired a lot of my expansions that I have. I participated in 2. I didn't get the one last year, even though I still have some of those expansions that came out of that. But I'm definitely doing that this year to see what they have. But man, that joint, Lord, mm, I had no idea that that was going to come out of that. Boy, that was smooth. Locke is that dude. He continues to bang out every single week, every single submission. And as I said before, with Ray-Dee, and you got Wallace coming up a little bit later, and a couple in 18th Dynasty, he continues to evolve every year and get better and better and better. And that's what this is all about, people. Jump in this joint and you're practicing on a regular basis, and you're only going to get better with practice. But man, that submission, again, all the sounds selected, beautiful. The patterns and sequences and ways in which he used those sounds, beautiful. I think it was about, I can't remember if it was at the 1 minute or the 120 where it had that one high synth. You know I'm a big video game head. And that reminds me of Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Oh my God. When it hit, I was just like, oh. Shout out to the Super Nintendo. But man, this track was nice. Very, very, very solid submission, my man. As usual, please continue. Thank you, sir. All right, let's take it up north a little bit. From coming from the south, we're going to bring it back up north a little bit and holler at my man, Diggahertz. Let's go. This guy, Diggahertz. Woo. Yeah, that was nice. Very nice. Very Diggahertz. My man. So he said he used battery for that. Now, I have to say, as a person that owns Battery 3, I don't know about 4. He didn't actually say which version of Battery. I've only known Battery to be drum sounds, but there's a great possibility that those synths and whatnot may be in there, especially if it's, if he used 4. But yo, very, very nice. That's what he used to sequence that. I love the sounds. I like the simplicity of it, but I definitely could have used, change up or two, a little more evolution in the track, but overall, very simplistic yet very dope. Very cool for somebody to come in and just spit over, real talk, or sing over, because it kind of almost has I want to say a Dilla slash neo soul kind of vibe. So you could easily have somebody sing over that, and we know for a fact that Diggahertz actually sings a little bit. Also, he's very dope at it, believe it or not. But yeah, this was nice, dude. This was nice. I would definitely like to see a fuller track, though. I mean, and fuller in the sense of it actually evolving and more happening with it. Overall, very nice track, my man. Very nice track. And good to see you back in the lineup. Let's keep that going. Thank you, my man. All right, let's bring it up to Detroit. Holla at my man. I'm a little apprehensive about this one, and I'll tell you why later. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wallace, let's go.
Double negative.
Jeez, OP. Mr. Wallace, my man. Whew, Lord. Now, let me tell you why I was a little apprehensive. He used the intro pack. And the intro pack is a sound pack that I created. And it's available through computermusicacademy.com. It's only $5, I think. Actually, yes, $5 minimum, and then you can pay more if you want. I'm not even concerned about it. The reason why I was apprehensive is because I put a decent amount of time into making that joint because I wanted to actually make my own sound pack. And I also wanted to have something available for people who are just joining CMA that had nothing, you know what I'm saying, or very little. And I wanted to give them, here's a pack of sounds to get you started, to introduce you, intro pack, to creating music. And after I put it together, released it, actually did a couple of updates and added more instruments. I think like 2 or 3 updates after I initially released it. I left it alone because I felt that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I go back and I play around with some of the sounds occasionally on my own tracks, but I just didn't feel like it turned out the way I wanted it to. And that's one of the reasons why, first of all, it's available to every member for free. They can download it for free. And then it's only $5 for people who are outside of CMA. So when he said that he used it, I'm like, oh, God. No. He used that entirely. And I'm listening to the track. I'm impressed. I'm impressed that he was able to do what he does. But then again, it's Wallace. And I guess that's the whole thing. I guess that proves something to me, that with a certain amount of sounds or certain, stuff, certain amount of things or certain types of sounds in your grasp, it's all about what you do with them. Everybody is going to do something different. And I am highly impressed with what he did with that pack. Holy crap. And I'm listening to it and I was like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. I love this track. This is by far one of my absolute top favorites from Wallace. Holy crap. I love the instrumentation. I love all the sounds he used. I love, especially like on the drums and whatnot, on the hi-hats, stuff was panned and constantly moving back and forth. I like that kind of stuff. I like that. It keeps the mind intrigued and firing and inspiring you to do certain things, especially if you're a writer. And he said that he actually created this with a video game soundtrack in mind. Excellent. Mission accomplished, my man. You killed that. But man, I'm highly impressed with what he was able to do with those sounds. And this is no commercial, but if you're interested, go pick it up. And you see what he did with it, go over and pick it up. It's $5. It's that simple. But Wallace, high quality, my man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now to the finale of this particular episode with one that I'm very interested in hearing. My man Taurus Beats coming through, and I'll tell you what he used on the other side. Yes, sir. Taurus Beats closing out episode 117 of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. Yes, sir. I like that. Now, if you've been following the program, you know that Taurus is a Reason user. And a little backstory, I've never wanted to use Reason. Well, I'm not going to say never. In the beginning, the first, I would say maybe about 4 or 5 iterations, I didn't want to use it because everything that I heard from Reason sounded very thin. And this was before I really understood the concept of layering and doing your own processing and stuff like that. So he uses Reason, but he did not use just Reason. He used a particular instrument within Reason called NNXT, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the original instruments. Like now I know they have Kong and they have all the RE expansions and stuff like that, but that's like one of the first Reason joints. And we're up to what, 8 or 9 now, I think. But yeah, and again, as I said for the last couple of weeks, Taurus is changing as far as, Taurus normally has a very similar sound to his tracks. That's because he normally, at least I'm assuming, he stays within the same realm of instruments. He's constantly going back to the same instruments, which there's nothing wrong with that, especially if it develops a signature sound. But one thing I've been seeing over these last, maybe like 3 submissions of his, is he's definitely changing and using different sounds, especially the drums, because he has said it in the past that he created his own set of drums that he constantly goes back to. In this particular case, everything came from NNXT, and you can see that everything sounded different, especially the drums. Now, he still found his China Crash symbol, which I love that. I ain't gonna front. But for the most part, this was excellent. Real chill, laid back, and Taurus's thing is mood music. Very dope. Loved how the track moved. I love the sounds. I love how it evolved. And it didn't have some mutes and taking stuff away and whatnot. Really enjoyed the track. And I enjoy every submission that we had this week. So shout out to Taurus Beats, Mr. Wallace, Diggahertz, Lockturnal, RTO Beats, Gemini 4D, Ray-Dee 3000, Sho-Nuff, MICnotes, 18th Dynasty, Davenport, OK Joey, Ron B, E-Hustle, and no one you know. I'm loving these longer podcasts. And hopefully we actually have video this week because we had some issues with the video last week being corrupt. So hopefully you're seeing me right now. And if so, thank you. But yeah, for everybody that participated this week, for everybody that did not participate this week, and for everybody watching this week, let this be a lesson to you. Sometimes you just have to scale it down to get very creative. And it may not happen the first time. You limit yourself, and then you'll start finding yourself being more creative with what you have. That's what it's all about. This is all a lesson. Trust me. And in the grand scheme of what I have planned for this year, oh yeah, it's going to be crazy. So, shout out to everybody watching and listening. We appreciate you all. And if you enjoy what you see and heard here, please hit the thumbs up button, give us some likes, and share it on your social media. Tell people what you're listening to. And if you would like to be a part of what we do, it's very simple. Come on over to computermusicacademy.com and join us. I'm done for the week. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.